So street like Elmo, so street like Elmo. TSG coming in, feeling that hip hop vibe today, feeling a little Childish Gambino. I had that line in my head all day going on. That little do or die. Got that going on the workout today. Just got me kind of feeling pumped up, feeling right, feeling those New Year's resolutions. Just, grinding on out and gliding into it. It is TSG, the Steam Gentlemen. We are the podcast that really found its voice around episode 46. Yep, there's reference in there.
Yeah, man.
If you can figure that out, then you TSG. That's just kind of the way it is. We're also the podcast that is going to point out that I'm going to point out Dominic West. Okay, I really think we need to put him up for best actor of all time, and here is why. Ooh. Dominic West was on The Wire, and he played a character named McNulty, right? Anyone remember that? Everybody, you with me so far, guys?
Yeah, no, I'm still getting stuck on your first comment.
Okay, all right. But Dominic West.
He was also in 300 if we're just going down.
He was in 300 for a few minutes. He's been doing a lot of stuff. Now, currently, he is playing Prince Charles on The Crown. And I know this because I have a wife. And, I pretend not to watch it with her.
Do not blame her for that.
I pretend not to. I'm not blaming her, but it was a lot like Downton Abbey. Like, what is this shit you're watching? And I sort of sit there and kind of poke my head around the corner. Like he's never going to marry her.
Will you watch when Twilight gets home?
Yeah, sometimes. It varies with the telling. But anyway, Dominic West. So he is in fact British. And
he is.
Here's why I think he just deserves the accolades for being a much better actor than he gets. On The Wire, there was an episode where they were trying to bust up a brothel. And they decided to send his character, McNulty, who the whole entire time has not been speaking with an English accent. And this is the first time I was really introduced to him as an actor. And he speaks with an American accent, convincing enough to me that I did not realize he was British. During the show, he decides his undercover thing when he's breaking up the brothel is as an English guy. And he does the worst accent ever. He does a bad British accent. He does an American trying to do a British accent during that. Then later on, I find out he's British. Mind blown completely. Like that is some next level fucking acting when you can not only do your own native accent, but do someone else doing a bad impression of your native accent. Come on, man.
I believe because they have to listen to Americans try to do British accents all the time. So I have no problem believing he had plenty of sources to draw from.
I was just about to say, who's going to tell Birdman that it's not he, it's they? They have been doing that for about over a century, and it's been well documented, and they'll continue to do that. But to be fair, not everyone nails American accents, not even the British, not even when they think they do, and even people from America.
Actually, you know what? I bet if you two tried, I bet if all three of us tried, we could totally do an impression of somebody doing a bad Boston accent.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
we could, because we hear that all the time.
All the time. No, nothing ever.
It tends to start sounding like an actual Boston accent because, default.
I mean, default. Well, no. I mean, firstly, let me just say that I love Juliette Lewis. Not Juliette Lewis.
Love her.
Oh yeah, no, I flubbed that one. But no, oh Christ, she was on 30 Rock. And she was doing a Boston accent. She was doing a Boston accent, and Julianne Moore. Excuse me, Julianne Moore. Took me a second there, but she was doing a Boston accent that was not so good.
It sounded like someone doing a Boston accent impersonating the person doing the Boston accent.
Yes, but the funny part was she lived in Waltham, which is where I lived at the time. So that was the best part about watching that show, because Jack Donegan, as she said, he's like, we have to infiltrate a home in Waltham, Massachusetts, and get to her answering machine. So that made it well worth it. But it is the triumvirate of geek. Yes, we are the people who notice these things. We are the ones who ask these questions. And I just want to give our own accolade to Dominic West for doing an excellent version of a bad an American doing a bad British accent. So there you have it.
Winning.
That award worth absolutely nothing. I'm joined by my co-host. You've heard them chime in here, but let me introduce them to you formally if this is your first time joining us in the show. Firstly, let's introduce the star child, Greg DeSense. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm ready to fly high on this nostalgic madness.
Oh, it's just a nostalgia-gasm today. Oh boy, it's gonna get messy.
Indeed.
Indeed. It's gonna get messy. We're gonna need to do a load of wash after this, without a doubt. That's how that's gonna go. But on that image, I'm just looking at my other co-host, the three of clubs himself, RaShaun Smith. How you doing over there?
What it do? How'd you do? Happy to be with all of you. I got 3 things for you right off the bat. And of course, I've already forgotten about one of them. So I'll just hop into the second one. I already forgot about that one too. So I'll hop into the third one. Because of the movie Snatch and when it came out and how DVDs worked at the time and my fascination with a lot of different things, I am both ashamed and not ashamed to share with everyone listening that I did go through a period of time where when I got I want to say super drunk to make myself feel better and to make it seem better for what I'm about to say, as improbable as that might be. However, when I got even a little bit drunk, I would start to try to speak with a Cockney accent, and then it became a tick. So when I actually became pretty drunk, it would just spill out. And I wish I could say I don't know why, but I knew why. I knew exactly why. Because of the movie Snatch. So, hey, if we're talking about accents and really bad accents and on and on and on, I felt I needed to share.
All right. Well,
don't worry about those first 2 things. I was going to say clearly they weren't important. And I'll probably remember it as soon as Josh starts talking into his monologue.
Well, there is, I can say that we appreciate that share. And today I'm gonna say we best get to move on before the Germans get here. Very important. I gotta watch out here. We have had a few listens in Germany, but I've been focusing, mostly domestically here. But Germany.
We need to talk about Rory Breaker.
Okay. All right. Well,
when we have a chance, we need to talk about Rory.
All right. Well, we'll have to put that on the agenda. But right now we are focused firmly on the past as it enters the future and becomes our past and still is our future. Yes, TSG, we do try and commit to doing some topical pop culture and social commentary events. And so, we're gonna go there. We're gonna strap in. We're gonna go on for full throttle. We're gonna head on into the zone of danger, Lana.
Highway to the danger zone.
Yes, the movie that made me think I wanted to work for the United States Navy, that being Top Gun. I was there in the theater in the original with the Scott brothers, with Ridley, working on that original. And sure enough, I cajoled and made sure I could to get all my fellow Steam gentlemen to watch Maverick after I went out to the theater, and I had some notes. I have some thoughts. So I promised I would step right up for my 10 minutes of fame. So here goes. All right. I'm on the carrier deck. I am locked into the catapult.
I'm dying to hear this, by the way. Like you've been itching to do this.
Let's hope I haven't overhyped it, but I probably overhyped it. Let's face it. That's kind of what I do, right? I overhype these things, and then
for the record, Josh, you have overhyped it.
I have overhyped it. All right. So first off, I just want to say that
I feel like it's when those little kids are like, watch me dance. I got all these moves, watch me dance. And all I do is frail around their arms.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that Super Bowl shuffle thing I showed you earlier on today, right? When he's like just moving the hips. That's it. All right.
We were alive when that happened. I don't know why you shared it like we weren't alive when it happened. I distinctly remember that.
I needed a reminder.
It's a nostalgia day. We need reminders. We're doing nostalgia. All right. So as I said, all of us were in the theater. All of us saw the original Top Gun. So a couple months ago, I will say the best meme I saw during the time was say, all right, let me get this straight. The number one song is Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush. The number one movie is Top Gun. and we're in a proxy war with Russia, did everyone just say, fuck it, let's give 1989 another go? Is that what we're doing here? And apparently so. All right. The history sure doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. Brings us to, again, the amazing spectacle that is Top Gun Maverick. Now, I just want to preface some of what I'm about to say with, I may be a fan that you hate, because when people talk about and roll their eyes and talk about fan service, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of like pedestrian sex. I'm like, yeah, but is that a bad thing? I mean, okay, yeah, okay. Any fetish sites, all right. You don't have to clear your internet search history about it.
Pedestrians, please don't have sex.
All right, yeah, kids, sure. But is it still a bad thing? Like, do we have to shame anybody over the vanilla? Really? Is it? I want the fan service. Okay, it's part of what I go to if I'm going to a film called Top Gun Maverick and I'm not getting fan service. I'm going to be a little pissed off. All right, because I'm not showing up to see Henry V. Let's be abundantly clear about that. It's Top Gun fucking Maverick. It's a sequel. At least they found a way to not put the number 2 in it. Okay, kudos to you, right? You did that. Now, opening sequence, it's been out long enough. Spoiler alerts, if you haven't watched this film, go watch it now and then come back to the episode, but you've been warned. All right, first act. He's an aging pilot. There's really, when you look at Tom Cruise's real age, and oddly enough, they had to, when you go to the theater and see it, they had this really weird special message from Tom Cruise thanking you to go to the movie. And suddenly he was like, he really was starting to show his age. It was just really weird. Like, I don't want to say he totally looked like, he didn't look like Captain America in the in the Endgame when he goes through time and comes back as Joe Biden. Like, it wasn't that, but like you saw some of the neck starting to happen. And look, it's going to happen to me. I'm pushing 50 here. Like, we'll check back in 10, 12 years and I'm going to be there too. But it was just interesting because no makeup, no lighting, whatever it was, even his voice sounded older. But all right.
I think that was CGI.
Yeah. I mean, there's no reason in hell. There's no way in hell with the physical forces on your body. This guy's still being a fighter pilot. But they tried. They gave him a Chuck Yeager-like backstory that he's a test pilot now. Okay. All right. Good job. I'm going with it. I'm going with you. Well, right off the bat, we do a little of the fan service. He goes to Mach 10, and then he goes to Mach 10.1 and 10.2 and 10.3, and just, pushes really fast in this, hyper experimental aircraft. And nevertheless, Ed Harris gets to be the admiral who shows up and chews his ass out, but can't believe what he's about to do because he's going to give him his chance yet again. Even though there's no reason in hell that, going back to the original Top Gun, by the way, you would be court-martialed, put in jail, and drummed out of the Navy for buzzing the tower like that. But all right, we put all that aside. I absolutely know this. Even my father, who took me to see that film and who loved it, turned to me and said, just so you understand, son, like, they will absolutely crucify you for such behavior.
Don't do that.
You don't do that.
That's the unrealistic part in Top Gun, people. That part. One
of many, but we're continuing. We're going on, but we're here. We're in it.
Not Goose having Meg Ryan. That part.
All right. So we come back in and he's now got to train people at Top Gun for a specialized mission. And here's where it started to tug at me a little bit, but I'm going to tell you this. I still could have gotten past this. I just want to preface that before I go on to the third act. I could have gotten past what I'm about to tell you because he proceeds to give them the exact briefing that they get in Star Wars. I mean, he lays out this mission, and what do they have to do? They have to run down a trench below a certain area. It's guarded by all kinds of guns and turrets, and they have to hit an exhaust port that's just 2 meters wide. And all I'm waiting for is Wedge to turn to somebody and say, 2 meters, that's impossible. And some other kids say, well, it's not much bigger than the Womp Rats I used to bullseye back home. Completely.
Bob did kind of give you that. Call sign Bob did kind of give you that.
Bob, totally, it's like, nobody, but yeah, he lays out the whole mission parameters. They're using, fascinating as far as the timing of the whole thing, because really F-14s were on their way out when Top Gun was made, and now Maverick F-18s are on their way out. They're using like, one generation just on the cusp of being knocked out. But, with all that, and then somehow then they got to push and shoehorn a way to get him to lead the mission, even though, again, no way in hell this should be happening because he's just supposed to be training him. They have, you got to get the nostalgia in here. And they introduce Goose's son, call sign Rooster. He's got the same mustache. He plays, Great Balls of Fire. But you know what? I was down for that. I was totally down for that shit. And he's having flashbacks to the original film. Totally down. All right. I'm a little turgid. Everything's good. Everything's happening the way it should right now. We're good. But then we get to the third act. When he needs to go and make the Death Star trench run. All right.
Is the meatball a little too spicy for you?
It's a little bit spicy part. Oh, so he makes the Death Star trench run. Firstly, after standing in the way and doing a major disservice to Rooster's career and blocking him out of the Naval Academy, which is huge.
The guy sucked to begin with.
Absolutely huge what he did. That's not a small thing. That's huge. Totally fucks his career up. He decides to then take him on the mission somehow after all the misagash and playing around with no shirts on and playing football as opposed to having a whole racism there.
Let's not call that football.
Yeah. So we got that going on, and they're on the. Oh, by the way, also on the carrier, we did have to still get some homoeroticism in there, as I pointed out. I think I talked to you about this guy already, with the random black vice admiral there who just looks at him and is like, "You're right where you need to be, Lieutenant Mitchell." I needed a kiss right there. I'm telling you, I still think
that's you.
No. Mr. Tarantino agrees with me.
A little bit.
A lot of people agree with me on the sexual tension there in Top Gun. Okay, between Iceman and everything. Oh yeah, we have Iceman brought on. Really very nice. I'll give Tom Cruise this. By the way, he brings back Val Kilmer, who is suffering from throat cancer, and still make sure he's in the movie. That was classy. All right, I'll give you the class act. But firstly, Rooster has to say, "Talk to me, Dad," as he's flying towards the down the trench. Then he closes his eyes. Then his targeting computer stops working. And somehow he closes his eyes and makes the proton torpedo. I'm sorry. The shot bomb into that, and the Death Star blows up. Okay. All right. But you know what? I'm still with you. But then on their way out, they should have killed Maverick. There's no two ways about this. They should have killed Maverick. But what do they do? No.
Did we do a spoiler alert?
I did. They should have killed Maverick. Instead, what do? They shoot him down. They shoot Rooster down. And then, in a point where I should have been paying attention at the beginning of the movie, they even mentioned there's a fucking F-14 sitting in a hangar in the enemy territory. And they just kind of run and jump out like it's no big deal. Like they're just two guys running out for a joyride down by the Packy and trying to get the extra thing of smokes and vodka. They jump in. They jump in the F-14. Then they go up and they get challenged by some fifth generation fighters that are supposed to be the cutting edge. Meanwhile, I felt like there was someone sitting behind me saying, "Are you understanding this? Are you getting this symbolism?" Right? It's Maverick and his son is in the wheel. He's sitting back there. It's Maverick and it's Goose. And they're going to bring it home. And they manage to find a way. And they find that they end up landing on the carrier deck and they hug each other. And just, oh my God. Like, okay.
And Chewbacca gets medal.
I get fan service. I really do. But like, have just a little bit of balls. Take it to some, like everything, as I said, in the first two acts. You got it. You nailed it.
No balls.
Despite all
they did kill a major character. Come on.
Come on. Like they did that in the first one. There's no way. Like if they had the balls, they would have killed Maverick off, and that would have been the thing. But
they killed the Iceman. I mean, what do you want?
All right. Yeah, by cancer. I mean, like,
that's the long range missile. That's the long range missile.
It's what gets more of us. Let's face it. But just I could sit with it as a remake of Star Wars. I was totally even there I was with it. I was laughing. I was smiling. But then, goddamn, they had Tom Cruise just, running that way he runs through the fucking woods, and they're talking and they're bantering.
Tom Cruise running.
It's just the third act. It was like it was just like they just gave up completely. They're like, fuck this shit. I don't care. I don't know.
That's where they gave up.
Let's put it there. All right. That's my 2 cents worth for it, of just when I saw that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't the only one seeing this.
I want our listeners to understand Josh loved the fuck out of this movie. He's literally talking about like 1% of something. Like this dude was glowing on this movie for a legit 3-week period.
That was why I wanted you to see it, so you could see that third act and be like,
you had to literally had to think really hard. What didn't I like about this movie?
No,
I need to have something, so I sound impartial.
That third act, man. That third act. I went to see it with my wife, who, by the way, loved the first movie and did enjoy it. We had a great date night on this one, but even she was like, "Yeah, they totally gave the fuck up on that third act." We were just.
I did think it was funny, the Star Wars thing, because I was like, that just has no place in modern warfare. This entire scenario there's absolutely no place in modern warfare whatsoever. But I also like that it gave us a little bit more of a better fight between Vader and Luke. I mean, Tom and other pilot, I definitely like that it gave us a better one-on-one, because that whole thing where like Han Solo just comes in out of nowhere and just like blasts Vader and he goes spiraling off. I was like, that was bullshit.
But we had Hangman.
We got a little bit more of a one-on-one between Vader and Luke, so I enjoyed it.
But don't
let alone there's no back radar for a TIE fighter. Let's just ignore the fact that there's no radar for your six,
right?
A TIE fighter.
But also we had Hangman, who, by the way, is the bad guy in this film, or the tension in this film, and he has a toothpick, and it's man in his call sign name, like Iceman, Hangman, and Hangman all but just went whoop. Right, that was all that was missing when he showed up to save her, as I left that out of my little description there. So yeah, we followed the Star Wars thing. All right, Greg, I'm looking at you.
Shout out to the pitch meeting.
Yeah, that's it. Pitch meeting said it. Pitch meeting did it. We understand.
It's verified now.
We had to put our 2 cents worth into it. We want to be in the content world. We want to be out there. We want to be hip. We want to be talking to the kids. We want to be
relevant. Damn it, we're relevant.
We're relevant. We're looking at the little man, getting eye to eye, talking his language. All right, Greg.
Let me rap with you.
To be fair, I didn't think anything much of this movie when it was coming out, except for, oh my God, why? Why, God, why? And then, I'm gonna go see it, because this movie, people are saying like it saved movie theaters. Like it's saying after the pandemic, they're saying like this was a big blockbuster that everybody wanted to see. It was just a delicious hunk of cheese. So going into, I'm not going to do a play by play. I'm just going to talk about some of my favorite things.
Hey.
And I can honestly say I enjoyed the shit out of this. I do disagree. I think they gave up from the very beginning. I don't think they actually ever even tried.
So your theory is they never sold out because they never bought in.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going with that.
They never tried to not do exactly what they were doing. And you know what? If you are, let's be honest, if you're that big a fan of the original Top Gun, you don't give a shit. You don't care. Like, you could have made this movie another 12 times. This could have been his franchise instead of Mission Impossible, and everyone would have been completely fine with it. And the fact that he's going up against Evilistan in this movie.
Unnameistan,
whoever it is,
whoever the fuck is
care, because you
Hammer
totally
Sickle Stand.
What's that?
Hammer Sickle Stand
Thing, place of bad people. Who's below?
Pronounce the hammer and the sickle, Russia.
Yeah, got it. So for that reason, I was like, all right, you know what? I'm in for this ride. And again, it was, pretty much beat for beat, everything you wanted, just constant barrage of nostalgia. And it was like, all right, he's kind of acknowledging something that probably a lot of original fans are going through right now, just being, feeling totally like the old person in the room. And I feel like, you know what, he did take the right attitudes with some things. Like, don't try to come in here being the young hotshot, dude. It'll be weird. And he just acknowledges that this is where this character is coming from at this point. And when you just sit down and you just know, and I say this all the time, let people know what the intentions of your movie, show, whatever it is, right at the beginning, and my ass is all in. I am all in. Right from the opening fucking credits, I knew I was going to be watching the same damn movie. And I think the fact that there is beach football throwing around, shirtless, sweaty beach football throwing around, as opposed to beachless, sweaty, shirtless volleyball, tells you exactly how dynamic they were in making decisions about this film. So as much as I love it, I can hear everybody thinking, but Greg, you inconsistent bumblefuck, you didn't like the last Star Wars trilogy because you said that it was a carbon copy of the original trilogy. You said you didn't like the Batman because it was just a knockoff of 7. Make up your mind, Greg. Well, to you, I'm going to say thank you for actually listening to Should I Say and remembering some things, but I would have to remind you that I always say in reviewing a movie, TV show, whatever it is, the most important question and the first question is, did it hit? Did it hit? Did you enjoy yourself? Were you glad that you gave this, 3 hours of your life and $15? Like, are you happy about this experience? Whether or not fucking plot points and performances and whoever the fuck the cinematographer was, who cares? Did you just enjoy the film? And I did. Unlike the nostalgia bait of the Batman or the last horrors of Disney, this hit. It hit. It was good. Every little bit, down to the soundtrack, the way that I was so impressed the way that everyone was 80s acting. The thing that you said about the way McNulty did the bad British accent, even though he's British.
Right.
This was all of these actors who must be really good because they are doing a great job at bad 80s acting. Everyone across the board, even the scenes with him and Tom Cruise and Jennifer Connelly.
Oh, yeah.
Jennifer Connelly, I know she's a much better actress than that, but that's not why we're here. We are here because we need hammy, cheesy 80s acting.
She tapped into Labyrinth.
Wait, what?
She tapped into Labyrinth for that, is what you're saying.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, we got to go that far back. Yeah, we got to go that far back easily.
In the name of David Bowie, you take that back.
And even Ed Harris's character, he was absolutely perfect because it's like, you're just going to be the angry old admiral. Full stop.
Who protects you.
Really?
That's it. Yeah. You're just going to come in and you're just going to be the angry old admiral. And that's it. And then John Hamm, you're going to be the guy who's not as cool as Maverick.
Right.
That's it. You're here to bust his balls. That's it. Full stop.
Yep.
We all know he's not going to listen to you. And we all know that he's going to face absolutely zero repercussions for all of the bad things that he is going to do, which is, okay, yeah, you got to acknowledge the white privilege in that. I mean, obviously, that's another reason why this movie was such a hit. It was like, yes, back to films where white guys get to get away with whatever the fuck they want. That's what we need. And as long as that, what?
You said back to air quotes.
Right, seriously.
Woo, hell of a break.
All right, Pete Mitchell, you ain't going to jail today. All right, go. All right, Pete.
That's just gonna be paperwork,
right? But honestly, if this was, I think, as far as look for nostalgia, if you have no gift for reinventing the wheel, please don't try. Just do this. Give us an entertaining romp.
Goodwill.
Yeah. And if it hits, then I won't care about the plot. If I'm thinking about the plot, then you fucked up. A movie like this, I shouldn't be thinking about the plot. Hell, movie like this, I shouldn't be thinking.
All right.
There.
I feel you. And even when it was all said and done, I still enjoyed myself. And I'm still glad we went to the date night. Like,
yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
I'm with you on that. Just think they should have killed him in the third act. I just kill him. God damn it, kill him. Maybe it's my bloodthirst. Maybe it's that. But I did like, for you, I got to say that, yes, white privilege with wings. I think that definitely could have been the subtitle.
Mhm.
That could have been the pitch line for this movie.
Totally, yeah.
Absolutely. I like that. I'm digging that.
Yeah, for this movie, not for any of the other movies. Just this
for the
one.
other movies too, but
just this one.
I did like.
Yeah.
It's just to say that the way Hollywood thinks it's changing gears on that whole issue, and these guys like to hyperbolically make it sound as though it's
got a little something for that.
like, okay, no, it hasn't happened, guys. Calm down.
I do have to give a shout out ahead of time here before we give him his time to the 3 of Clubs, because you spotted and you figured out Jennifer Connelly's character, and I didn't put that together.
I saw that as soon as the bar scene started.
I totally was like, all right, they just wanted to introduce a random girl for him from his past, but she's the Admiral's daughter. You totally nailed it. I'm like, well done.
Well, the pacing in the scenes of the movie are almost, forget carbon copies. It literally overlays over each other. So, like, for example, I mean, I wasn't even going to start with this, but fine. Right. For example, before Ed Harris even opened up his mouth, I knew we were getting to the moment that started at the first Top Gun, where my man was like, I just can't believe, well, I'm giving you your shot. I'm sending you in the Miramar. Cougar was number 1. He passes his wings. You're number 2. Like, I'm fucking it up. But and like, as soon as Ed Harris showed up, I'm like, all right, this is obviously what's happening, because they already set up the whole flight deck. So it was like, all right, that's happening. We're getting to that. Just like when they got to the bar, it's like, okay, we're obviously going to get great balls of fire anytime soon, which I got problems with that scene. I'm definitely going to nail on some scenes that I could not stand in this movie, because similar to Josh, I did love it, but it's because of nostalgia that Greg's talking about. Same thing with, by the time you knew when the football, or I can't even call it football, when whatever the fuck they were doing on the beach, offense, defense at the same time, 2 different teams. I was doing my best to try to figure out heads and tails of that. I am not that smart, so it wasn't that hard to beat me on it. But still, if someone could figure out exactly what was happening, other than just a bunch of people just running around, throwing long passes and act like they did something when they weren't even doing it on defense, I don't even know what the fuck was going on. So, yeah, by the time we got to that, it was pretty obvious to understand, what was going to happen with the football scene. They're obviously going to do something on the beach. Same thing when they got to the conflict towards the end. Now, a lot of it was, frankly, beat for beat. And sometimes I felt like Tom Cruise was playing with that. I don't think he was running away from it, and I don't think they were doing it lazily. I think a lot of times similar, I think some of the points Josh was trying to make, in the sense that Tom Cruise was literally trying to say thank you to all the people who helped move this project along, because a lot of people forget that in the background, Maverick was in production for years, in some parts, decades. So this is a very much a passion project for Tom Cruise. So I think a lot of his homages back to fanboy sort of fan service scenes from the first one wasn't just, I don't even call it lazy. I think he was literally trying to say, hey, I'm doing this for you. So even when he goes inverted, that scene, it's like you knew it was coming, because the guy's literally making this movie for the people he feels are his fans. Which takes me to the next step, in the sense that I'm going to also point out, before I lean into the spot or the things that absolutely drove me wild with this movie, I am a Tom Cruise fan. I like, as much as I can be a fan about anything.
Absolutely.
Most people who really know me know I'm not necessarily a big fan of much of anything. Like, I'm not going to wait in line for shit. I'm not going to wear your jersey. I'm not going to do, I'm not fanatical for much of anything. Matter of fact, I didn't even go see this in the movie theater like I wanted to, but it got to the point in the week where I'm like, I don't fucking care. I mean, I do have still good memories of seeing it in the movie theater when it first came out. I want to take you back to 1984. My mom taking her oldest son to the movie theater because he really, really wanted to see it. And eventually he went into the military. So it made sense that this kid really was focusing on all these different military movies and saw damn near every single military movie that came out from like 1975 to probably now. So it made sense that her son, her oldest son, wanted to. But that also meant she had to drag along her little 4-year-old brat of a youngest son. So I sat there, I watched the first movie and blew my fucking mind. So much so that when we came home, my mom's like, there's a little competition. This is back in California, people. So if you don't remember it, it's literally probably like one little small part of California. But anyway, there's a little competition where you can draw a scene and they'll highlight it. We're talking 80s. The competitions weren't much. But I sat there for literally like 3 years wondering how I placed in that competition. My mom could not stop she could not break her heart enough to tell her son that wasn't even close to being considered that competition. I was a 4-year-old who drew into a drawing competition, but she didn't say it to me because I loved that movie so much. It started my love affair for Tom Cruise. Now, to be fair, I already love Val Kilmer. Matter of fact, if we're going to spend any time on any weird subjects moving forward for TSG, I probably need to spend at least one episode talking about my weird man crush on Val Kilmer growing up with, which kind of leads to the fact that I actually secretly rooted for Iceman when I watched Top Gun. Even though I love Maverick, I secretly rooted for Iceman. And the funny part is, Iceman was right. Iceman was right way more than he gets credit for. But anyway, so fine. I'm laying down the groundwork in the fact that I, like a lot of these guys, love Tom Cruise. I mean, love Top Gun. Wow, that's a slip. But, whatever. This movie came out, all good. These individuals saw in the movie theater. I did not. I waited until my ass could see it at home, which is all good. Cool. And like I said, it beat for beat, you knew the movie was coming, how it was coming. So by the time you saw Ed Harris's character, you knew that Tom Cruise was getting sent to Top Gun. You didn't know how exactly it was going to come down to, but frankly, as soon as Ed Harris started to talk, you knew exactly that was almost going to be word for word what happened in the first movie. By the time you see him pulling up to the bar, you knew that Penny Marshall was going to be there because that's the Admiral's daughter that he got flagged for doing a high-speed pass in the first movie. We're doing it by the numbers, people. We are going literally by the numbers of the first movie. So you knew this was coming. I got no problems with that. Here's where things start to break down for me in the sense of like, all right, like what the fuck are we doing? And frankly, again, I'm kind of with Greg on this in the sense of I'm not here to think. So sure, these are moments that I'm like, what the fuck? But at the same time, I'm not sure what to do. So first things first, I'm going to lean in on Rooster. I didn't like him. I thought he was kind of a douche to begin with for a lot of different reasons. But what the problem I had was the moment where he starts singing. Because I'm sitting there trying to break down exactly how do you get to this moment. Everyone's in uniform. Everyone is doing these different things. Also, everyone in the bar is going to be cool with this guy just singing all of a sudden. Like, what if you're listening to that song in the jukebox? What if you waited like 3 hours to get that song? I don't know if you've ever been to a popular bar, but sometimes it takes a long time to get to your jukebox selection. And this guy just fucking pulls the plug and starts singing Great Balls of Fire. What if you don't like Jerry Lee Lewis or whatever the fuck his name is? I mean, there's so many different problems with that. So fine, whatever. Moving past that. Tom Cruise, I mean, Maverick and Penny Marshall hooking up, whatever, fine. Moving past that, you knew it was coming. So let's get to some of the things that are a problem. I'll move towards the end of the movie in the sense of where this is like interesting in a lot of racial ways, and I'm not even sure if I'm upset with it. So I, going back to growing up, actually wanted to be in the military too, similar to my brother, for different reasons. Part of it was because of things like Top Gun. It was part of the reason why movies that aren't that good, like Iron Eagle, were some of my favorites. It's because of Top Gun. I wanted to fly jet fighter planes. All good, whatever. Cool. So I'm always going to be in for a movie like Top Gun. I got no problem with it. But the problem I always have, especially when I think about the military, is what happens when you're actually not white and you get to high-level positions that are kind of clandestine. What do you mean, RaShaun? Well, this is what I mean. And Top Gun actually nailed it. So here's the problem. they crash or they get shot down in enemy territory. Let's call it Evil Stan, like we've been saying. Okay, cool. Well, Evil Stan's clearly predominantly white because they had no problem with two random white guys just walking past them on their base. They literally do not say shit. Now, I guarantee you, if me and the fucking Star Child are walking anywhere near that base, we're shot. And if we haven't been shot, we're definitely not fucking walking unaccompanied to a fire jet. But these guys just walk right by. And then it gets taken into a whole new step where they're flying away and literally almost got away with it by waving. Waving why? Because you got two white guys in a fire plane from your base, but you're like, it kind of checks out. I mean, who's that? Is that Steve? Is that Steve? Nah, it's Gary. It's cool. It's all right. It's good. It's good. Gary's a jokester. Don't worry. Let him go.
I see you, Gary.
Gary with the F-14. You prankster.
You're so crazy, Gary.
You're so crazy guy.
You're so crazy, Gary.
Crazy guy. So like, crazy guy. I have a problem with that. But the other thing is what kind of was drilling me in my head while I was watching this movie. This is the type of movie that make incels and fucking fanboys. You don't have a point, but I can kind of see where you're coming from on certain things. So here's what I'm getting to. The people who get selected for the mission are like basically the Benetton ad for Top Gun. If you don't know what Benetton ads are, just look it up and you'll figure out what I'm talking about. I can argue, yes, they were probably the best of the best. And it just happened to work out that way. Fine. But I can see where this conversation continues to be in a death loop because you can argue, hey, the best of the best just happen to be this multicultural range of fighter pilots who just, went to a swath of the rainbow. It just happens like that. But then you have incels and fanboys showing up who are racist who would be like, or no, you're just saying like all these guys got pushed through the system. So, you just made it sure that they had it. And then you have other people saying, well, if we write a story about them and give them background and all this good stuff, then that's what makes them qualified. And then you have another group of people saying, well, you just made the story about those people to make them qualified instead of actually being qualified. Because if you look at statistics, blah, blah, blah. And then you have other people who show up and say the statistics are actually a little bit more multicultural than you think. So I get why it was happening. And also, Maverick, you didn't fucking push one past me. And the fact that all your best friends in the whole movie were black. Like, you didn't move that past me at all. Yeah. Matter of fact, that was pretty fucking glaring, my guy. But that's all right. I get it. And I'm sure a couple of your kids care about that too. So I appreciate that, Pete. But past that, I was all right with the movie, other than the fact that Rooster sucked.
Everybody know Tom Cruise is invited to the cookout. Everybody knows Tom Cruise.
It was like when they selected who was going on, like I knew. I called it and I wasn't even trying to. I just knew who they're going to call because it's like, all right, you guys are trying to make a point, but at the same time, you can't really make the point. So like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I get where they're coming from. Hangman probably should have been on the mission. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I've learned a lot about you, RaShaun. I just want to say that between Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer, I'm finding your taste kind of interesting there, my man, on your man crushes as I'm sitting over here looking at, Idris Elba. Right?
Dude, I like you guys grew up in the 80s. I watched Tom Cruise perfect movie runs like no fucking other. It's literally an art form. You cannot find it. We talk about British accents, going into American accents and giving it credit. How about the fact that Tom Cruise literally looks perfect in every single run that he does, to the point that it's ridiculous? And Val Kilmer, shout out to my man. I'm so happy he made it. I would have been really happy if my guy who's in the first one, who does the best part of it, my dude who's still alive, actually, James Tolkien, would have been nice if he was in it. But it was cool that Val Kilmer is in there. But people don't understand how fucking cool Val Kilmer was in the 80s, especially in the early part. My guy was unfucking stoppable. It literally, Top Gun is so prophetic with what happens with every single actor in the movie. That is the reason why I love that movie so much. You literally can follow the timeline of every character in Top Gun, and it follows the actual corresponding actor's career path. It's insane.
I do want to give Val Kilmer a little bit of a shout out, just in the sense he doesn't even know it, but real genius, steam tunnels. There we go. That's the, I
have no.
He was one of the best movies out there.
He was one of those actors that would just come out, do a role, blow everybody's mind, and then just not I gotta say disappear, but just start doing like smaller projects or whatever again.
Yeah.
Because between Mad Mardigan, Doc Holliday, right? You want to say like between those two, and then there's just like everything else.
Oh yeah. Because
it was Real Genius. What was that spy movie he was in?
Oh,
The Saints. He was in a bunch of different ones.
No, not that one. I know what you're talking about.
Also he was in a movie called Wonderland, which I really liked, where he played John Holmes. So gotta give him credit.
He was in a movie called The Doors.
He was in a movie called The Doors.
Yeah.
So a lot going on there. And RaShaun, I just will say I will never look at that scene with the two white guys waving out of the F-14. And now I just want to play 99 Problems every time I see that scene, right? License and registration, please step out of the car. You're carrying a weapon on you. Know a lot of you are. I mean, that's all I'm ever gonna hear from this.
He's Gary. Crazy Gary. You're stealing the plane, Gary. What are you doing? You're stealing the plane.
I mean, there's other parallels that you already touched on, the fact that like Tom Cruise was basically the personification of the F-14. Also, there's one unanswered question that we all didn't touch on, and I would love for someone. How the fuck did Maverick make his living? Because if we break down actually where he was living and what he was doing and how he was doing it, he needs like millions of dollars. Oh yeah. So what the fuck happened between Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick that we don't know about?
Hit the lottery 8 times, bought himself a P-51D Mustang.
Probably working for like BlackRock and doing private contracting.
Might have happened. Who knows? All right. Well,
Top Secret. That's the movie we're all thinking of. Top Secret.
Top Secret. Yes. There we go. Top Secret. Oh God, I forgot about Top Secret. All right. Well, here's what I think we're finally saying is, if you love Star Wars, go see Top Gun Maverick. You're gonna love it. You're gonna enjoy it. It's gonna be a great time. I enjoyed it. I still admit it. I just wanted a little more out of that third act.
Apparently not episode 7. So if you like Star Wars, don't watch episode 7. Watch Top Gun Maverick.
Well, if you like Star Wars, don't watch Star Wars.
Oh, there you go. Oh man, there we go. Still always gets his opportunity. All right. We're wrapping it up here, but before we go, a couple things here. Make sure to follow us on the socials on Instagram at Do You Even Steam Bro, on Facebook at the Steam Gentleman Podcast. If you feel like writing to us, shouting out to us, reaching out, you can reach out to on either of those social platforms or doyouevensteambro@gmail.com. Make sure to rate and review us. Please tell your friends if you're enjoying this. We want downloads, we want listens, we want all that good stuff. We want you to enjoy it. We want to keep pushing that Steam. We're doing it for the Steam people. That's you. That's the one here. You're part of it. We also have a merch shop. Greg's been working on some new merch, which we're really looking forward to, but I'll leave that link in the episode description. So please check that out. Hopefully you're checking out last week's episode when I left in that link for Stop the Madness, and check that one out. You want some good vintage 80s throwback? That's going on there. But let's lead it on out. Greg, what you got going on for the rest of the week? We record here ahead of time, so anything exciting for the weekend, any of that good stuff?
Nothing at all. I've been fighting the cold. For the record, I am not winning.
Okay.
So I'll probably still be laid up for the rest of the week.
All right.
Have you tried flying that F-14?
You crazy, Gary.
Damn Gary.
Oh man.
Always Gary. Always Gary and Terry.
So far we got it's cold 1 and descents 0, but all right, I'll keep cheering for a better outcome there. Hopefully better than our Patriots here.
Much appreciated.
RaShaun,
don't throw the ball backward.
What's going on in the what's going on in the Smith household? You had to throw that in there. Damn couple.
No, technically technically the Patriots had to throw it in there. That was the problem. They didn't have to.
All right. What you got there, wise ass? What's going on?
Hey, I'm working for the weekend just like the rest of us, but I would like to conclude my little rant by pointing out to people who are anti-diversity. Let me make clear, I was not sticking up for you. Because on the flip side of the coin of everything I said, it's kind of ran out of time. So I'll do it in my little end out right now to piss Josh off. But the flip side is the problem with what Top Gun did and Maverick did. It was, on the surface, it's nice and cute. And it's nice that all Maverick's best friends are black and all that good stuff. And the person that Josh thinks had some sort of homo erection towards,
I said homo erotic,
towards,
not homo.
that was all wrong.
Bullshit. That is a word now. That is a word.
If I haven't got in trouble before,
homo erection.
Like, what's they gonna do? Yeah, right.
No. Homo erection.
I can't wait for the first person I know.
Contribution to Western civilization.
I can't wait for the first person to know that I know that
is a word now.
Yeah,
all right.
I got that. I can't wait for the first person I know that's.
It's going to be a while before I don't try to sneak that into conversations.
Hey, that's fair. I can't wait to be asked what's the difference between a homo erection and a straight erection. To which I don't know. I would have to say maybe skill.
Right? Prep.
Applause when what happens.
All right,
definitely.
But what else? But anyway, it was nice to see Maverick with all his best friends being black and all that good stuff. But the problem with what they did with diversity and inclusion and the way they did, which I would argue is probably the laziest thing they did in the whole movie, is when you think about who makes it to the end, they basically put all the minority Top Gun characters just so they can basically blaze out at the end. Now, they didn't die, and they pulled off their mission, but they weren't necessarily consequential. So it's kind of like we're saying, you can come along for the ride, but you ain't driving.
Now, you're on the carrier deck. It's fine. Come on. What are you complaining about?
Yeah, they're cheering.
You get
they had that one guy do like the Rock from Rudy. He did the Charles S. Dutton, from Rudy moment.
ROC Rock, right.
Yeah, he was almost pounding his chest. It was damn near scene for scene the moment at the end of Rudy where Charles S. Dutton gets all excited.
Well,
like that happened on the carrier.
Last week we solved drug addiction and the war on drugs in America. This week, yet again, we conquer racism through film. We got it.
Homo erections.
And homo erections. We got that going on there. Well, I'm just going to keep moving on through my week. I got to take my kids swimming this evening and, get them into some floor hockey tomorrow and, keep pushing this agenda, trying to keep getting us out to the people, keep getting us out to the STEAM people. And, any erection, be it homo or otherwise, I'm going to be happy with.
Let's just say for the record, we are pro erection.
I'm good with it. And thankfully, so far, no Viagra needed. So we're
Josh talked about all sorts of shit, all podcasts. Yeah, this is the subject that's making him pinker than the red on his Patriot shirt.
I'm just
it is.
In 2 minutes.
Laughing.
If you're gonna go ahead dropping all sorts of antonyms, synonyms, and homonyms, we're gonna make sure that you get your attention for that shit because
that was
homo erection is a thing.
Homonym.
I hope Mike's listening to this episode. He'll love this one. I'll have to point that one out to him. But we are so
Mike's
happy to be
already
here.
done with us.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for giving us your time. We hope we, made your day a little bit brighter and let you think about some, semi-useless shit, but put it in some social context in pop culture and social commentary, because that's what we do here. So thank you so much for joining us here on The Steam, gentlemen. My name is Josh, and I'm reminding you to keep your heat up and keep your head of steam on.